from Marsha Garden, and I'm gonna be here today picking up this seaweed from the recent rain event that we had here in Península, Spain. See the wonderful castle there in the background. Seaweed is a valuable resource in the garden, and it can be used a lot for mulching or directly putting in your compost. You can also put it in compost tea as a way to get a liquid fertilizer out of it. I think I'm just going to use it as mulching and compost, but there's several ways to use this valuable resource that many coastal cities have. However, you do have to be careful with plastics, because the sea and plastics, they're unavoidably go together, and there's always going to be some amount of plastic found within this seaweed. So I'm not sure of the species, but every time that there's a big storm event here in Península, these wash up. If anybody knows the name of the species, I know Poseidina is like a Poseidon seaweed. It's very typical in the Mediterranean, but this doesn't look like it unless it's just the roots of that seaweed. So I'm going to collect a bit of these and show you some uses in the garden. Plastics.
When I got my macro kit out to get the close-ups of the seaweed, I was really surprised by the colors, and I gained a new appreciation for this often overlooked resource. Like any mulch, using seaweed in the garden can help reduce watering, avoid pests, eliminate or reduces the need to weed. Seaweed has the added benefit of introducing trace minerals to your garden, such as iron, manganese, zinc, copper, and boron. Even though most garden soil is not lacking in these minerals, one concern people have is that by adding seaweed, you are adding too much salt. However, the amount added is negligible.
There we are. That's 4 buckets of seaweed that I can use in the garden.
While these are all good things for the garden, I think the best thing about seaweed in the garden is that it's free. And mostly, you're preventing some of the seaweed from ending up in landfill, where it will decompose in an anaerobic environment.
Now, I've got my buckets of seaweed, and I'm going to load them up into the car. Once you're back in the garden, you can use your seaweed for mulch. You can make a liquid mulch. Fill it up so it's covering all the seaweed. You have to leave it for several months. You should have a hoard spell when you're finished. You can throw it on your compost bin. Those are just some of several uses for seaweed in your garden. This is a free resource that often goes to waste in coastal towns, especially tourist ones, where the seaweed is collected from the beach by tractors. Regularly maintain the beach a clean space for tourists, instead of it ending up in the landfill because it probably has too much plastics inside of it for it to be composted, and they probably don't bother with it. It just goes directly to the landfill. I could be wrong there. I don't know what the situation is here in Spain. I'm pretty sure it's just going to landfill. In more natural, wild areas, this is probably not a good idea to take seaweed from the beach, because seaweed actually does play a great role for wildlife. Be sure to be careful where you're taking it from, and not to damage the ecosystem.